This gun rebuild video has been brought to you in part by Main Irish Airsoft.
Right, so that's that part. The shimming finished. Now, on to the other bits.
So now what we need to do is we need to put a new piston in.
New piston head, or piston.
So one of the things I want to do with this gun is, usually the battery goes in the stock at the back, so Chris is going to have to change out the wiring on the trigger. Is it the trigger?
Yeah, wiring harness. Yeah.
So it becomes a front wired trigger rather than a rear wired trigger. And he's going to be using a
Classic Army high silicone wire. I'm just looking for G&G selector plate. One problem I did have with G&G before was their selector plate is slightly different to everyone else's, but we can get around that.
Looks like much thicker wiring as well, doesn't it?
It's heavier wiring, so it should be able to take a slightly stronger battery for the higher rate of fire as well. Another thing you need to consider. Just make sure that works before I bolt in. Do a test on this and make sure it works. It doesn't click over the switch, as some don't line up properly. Everything's okay. Right, a little fiddly bit wiring. Get it down into the groove. Nope. Little return spring for the wire connector, trigger contact even. All working. Screw. Don't forget the little screw, otherwise These all fall apart on you. That's the basic wording harness installed.
So, in with the piston next.
Next is new piston head. Just clean that off a tad. The bearings. Now I just copped something on there. I'm going to have to change.
What's wrong?
G&G piston has two little tags there to stop the piston head from spinning. But the classic army one doesn't. Change the plan.
Change the piston altogether.
Piston head. Yeah.
So, Chris, we are changing the piston head altogether.
Piston and piston head.
Piston and piston head, and we're
Yep.
changing over to an Element full teeth
Polycarbonate piston.
polycarbonate piston with
4, 7. Steel.
steel teeth.
Steel tooth. Full teeth piston. Full teeth piston. Steel teeth piston even. The reason for the steel teeth is when your piston comes back and the spring is completely compressed, if these teeth are plastic, they can snap and break fairly easy. Piston fly forward, and then next time you go to fire, it'll just zzz. You end up with a Black & Decker sound. This piston is actually slightly longer than this one, so I'm going to have to, although that might make a difference if I do this before I put the piston head together. I'm going to remove 2 teeth from the last 2 teeth from the steel section.
Why would you do that?
So as the piston releases earlier, and it will increase the rate of fire.
Cool.
Yeah, just clean this out. Let's see if we can get a seal on it.
So what are you putting in now?
Just gonna refit the cylinder head to the cylinder.
Right, so that's the cylinder head.
Yep. And then I'm just gonna put the piston into it and make sure that it's actually sealing when you move it up and down.
And getting compression.
Yeah, otherwise we'll have no power. Okay.
Back into Chris's black hole.
Nothing falls in there, it's gone forever. Actually, where's my bloody cylinder grease, cylinder stuff? I'll use this one.
So what are you putting on now?
This is some air seal grease, some Element air seal grease. It's basically just coats the inside of the cylinder. It's supposed to be a spray applicator, but it doesn't work. And a few drops in. Good seal there now. So, yeah, you can see it.
Yeah. So that's the piston head. Piston all now put back into the casing of the piston.
Cylinder. Okay.
And now you've just put back on the air nozzle as well.
Air nozzle as well, yeah. We'll fit that back in when I fit it. I'll do the gear, then we'll fit that back in and see what we can do.
That's the tappet plate.
Tappet plate.
So we're beginning to motor now. We're beginning to get this gearbox back to working order. What are you doing there, Chris?
It's just a little bit of flash in the rail there, so just clear it out so that doesn't get stuck in the rail in the gearbox. And anything you see in there, take it out. That's that.